welcome. Thank y'all for tuning in to another NVest Brand Podshow for today. This is officially episode number 6. Before I get started, I'd like to say it's grand rising to all my investors of self out there. Today's topic we're going to be talking about is, are you building your brand to be for the longevity, or are you just building your brand to be the next trend? So that's very important. It's going to be a hot topic for today. So I definitely want y'all to tap in because we're going to get right to it. But before I get to the topic, if you are listening to this on Spotify, please hit the follow button so you get a notification on anytime a new episode drop or what have you. And if you are watching this on YouTube or on our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified when any new pod show drops. And also, we're going to start making videos, doing videos throughout the week, short vids for y'all and what have you. So it's definitely important for you to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when anytime a new video drops on this NVest Brand pod show channel, what have you. And also make your way over to investbrand.com and become part of our journey. Become part of the journey because the journey was created for y'all, so y'all can stay in tune with NVest Brand, be right there along the journey with us and watch the growth and what have you. So it's very, very important. But before I get into the topic for today, I'm going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back with the new segment, Quote Me on That. So I'm going to read y'all a quote when I get back. So stay tapped into the NVest Brand Pod Show. What's going on to all my entrepreneurs out there, my 9-to-5 workers with side businesses, or people just want to bet on themselves? What better way than go to Invest Brand? This is what we're here for, man. We are investing, motivating you. That's our main mission, man. Helping you find your why in life. Because when you think about it, a lot of people in this world today don't know their why, don't know what it is, don't know what their purpose is. And this is what NVest Brand was created for, man, to help you get on your path, get on your journey to understanding and knowing your why. So why not come to NVest Brand? Because NVest Brand, we are here daily to motivate you to keep you going through your journey. This is what we invest in. We invest in giving back to the people, helping you stay motivated. NVest Brand was created for you. So go to investbrand.com, subscribe to the journey, because the journey is created for you to be part of, for you to join. Why not come to NVest Brand? Investbrand.com. Go there. Get your motivational streetwear so you can stay motivated every day. So when you forget what you on this mission for, or you forget your purpose, all you got to do is look down to the shirt and it'll give you that reminder of why you are doing it for. Remember, investbrand.com. Pod show for today. Like I said, today's topic we're going to be talking about, are you building your brand to be for the longevity, or are you building your brand to be for the next trend? But before I get started on that, like I said, we about to get into the segment, Quote Me on That. And we get to it. Yep. So the quote today that I'm going to read to y'all is, understand your growth, learn from it, and keep building on it. So what I mean by that is, when you are in the process of growing, becoming a better you and what have you, sometimes it's good to evaluate your situation, evaluate where you started from and where you at now, so you can know all the things that you was doing right to help you continue to build on it and what have you. And you write down the good things that you have been doing to better yourself and what have you, and you write down the things that is no usage to you no more, what have you. So you definitely want to be mindful of that, because it's important to evaluate your situation. It's very important for you to be able to continue to grow, because you want to be able to know what is working and what is not working and what have you. So it's very important. So that's what that quote means, and that's what that's what the quote means, and that's what I'm standing by. Yeah. Once again, let me read it one more time to y'all. Understand your growth, learn from it, and keep building on it. So definitely take that, man, and hopefully y'all hold on to it and continue to grow. And that's what it's all about: processing, growing, becoming a better you, And that's what we want here in Invest Brand. That's why we so dedicated into investing in motivating people, man, because we want to see people win in life, people that want to be successful, people that want to create for themselves, for their family, what have you. So that's what's very important. Like I said, man, we're gonna be talking about today. We're gonna be talking about longevity or trend, and that's very important, especially when it comes to people who want to build a brand or what have you. But because my favorite saying is, we all are our own brand, right? Because we definitely are. It's all up to the individual if you want to brand yourself, create you a brand, because your brand is a representation of who you are. Because you're going to put your personality behind your brand and what have you, right? But some people build brands just to be the next trend, right? And you find yourself when you're building your brand and you just want to build it for the next trend, you're going to be continue to chase trends, right? Steady building a strong, structured brand that's for the longevity. And that's what's so very important. You want to make sure when you start a brand, you want to make sure it's going to be for the long run, right? Especially if you have a well-structured plan, idea, and you have something that's going to be usable to the people that's going to be able to continue down the line to be continue to want your brand and what have you. Just look at Nike, right? Look at what Nike has done with Jordan and what have you. And I always said I don't believe that Nike from the beginning really knew what they had, right? I don't think they knew this shoe was going to be a longevity type of brand where they're going to continue to sell it from generation, right? I believe Nike probably thought, this is my own conjecture, that once Michael Jordan retired, that the shoe probably wasn't going to be in high demand no more. Nobody really was going to want the Jordans, what have you, even though the status of who Jordan is, right? He's one of the most favorite players in the world, what have you, right? But I don't think Nike knew that it was going to still, to this day, be one of the most popular shoes ever and what have you. When they was building that concept, it probably was one of them things where, okay, we're going to make a shoe for Jordan while he playing and we capitalize on it. But we know that we might hit a slow period where it's not going to be in high demand once he retires and what have you. But it has. They built a structured business model. I think once Jordan retired and they seen the demand still happening once he retired, what have you, they finally realized, like, we have something that's special. So we got to continue to capitalize on that, because look at Nike, right? Nike took away shoes, brought them back, took them away, brought them back. They did certain shoes like that of different players, what have you, right? Or they don't market other players that they have shoes as much as they don't. They really don't really market Jordans like that, because it's self-explanatory. All they have to do is like a release date and everybody go and get it, right? So that's a well-structured plan. That's why let me talk a little bit about Invest Brand and how we structure Invest Brand. When I came up with the concept of it, right, and I was looking at everything, and I knew what I had was special, the idea that I had, right, and now it was all about bringing it to life and what have you. And when I was building the brand, I wanted to build it for the longevity. I didn't want to build a brand that was going to be a trend. It's going to be in and out, because let me give you an understanding with trends. When it comes to trends, right, when you're building a brand, right, for the next trend, see what happened is the trend, when people start gravitating towards your brand because it's a trendy thing, it gets the attraction. The attraction start to increase, right? The momentum of your brand that you created start to increase. But understand, trends have a peak. Once trends hit that peak, what's going to be after the peak is going to be the decline. It's going to start to decline, because trends are in one season and out the next season. Your brand could be in for that season, and next year you trying to find the next trend. You trying to find what you can do next that's going to be trendy. And that's something that I don't think you want to do, right? Because that's going to be something that you're going to be chasing forever. You don't want to get into business. You got to continue to chase. Yes, you want to innovate your business, but that's something different far as you trying to chase trends, right? And I don't want to get off topic. Let me get back to what I was talking about. But far as Invest Brand, when I came up with the idea, I just wanted to make sure it's going to be structured for the long term, because I understood this is long-term investment that I'm doing. I am investing in motivating people. When you understand motivation, motivation is not going to go nowhere. Motivation is just like real estate. Everybody can continue to buy houses. It don't matter what the market is doing and what have you. Just like motivation, it don't matter what time of day it is, what season we in, what have you, what the market looking like, how life is going, what's going on in life. Everybody's going to look for motivation, right? And I knew motivation is a long-term thing. It's not a trendy thing. It's not something that's going to go out of style, because everybody need motivation, right? Like I said, motivation is going to be around just like real estate. People need houses just like people need motivation, right? So I knew I had something, and now all I had to do was just build on it, build a concept around it, right? And understood that, when people out here chasing not chasing their dreams, but going after their dreams, far as like entrepreneurs and what have you, entrepreneurs is born every day. Entrepreneurs are born every day, every generation. So you put motivation together with entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not going to ever die off, because people are going to continue to bet on themselves. So I knew, okay, I'm in the field of motivating, and entrepreneurship, right? Helping entrepreneurs stay motivated and people out here that's pursuing goals per se and what have you, because people is not going to stop pursuing goals either. People going to pursue their goals each and every day. Pursuing goals, entrepreneurship, and motivation, them three things is not going to go nowhere. So I knew I had something that was special, something that was going to be for the long term. I had a longevity brand. So I understood now all I got to do is put something together that people can gravitate to, that's something special that people see that they need in their life, right? And that's why I created Invest Brand, because I knew that people need motivation, right? And that was something that I wanted to provide for people. So that's what Invest Brand stand on. Invest Brand was created for the longevity, not for a trend. I didn't want to be something that's going to be trendy. The next thing is going to be out and what have you, right? Because I wanted to be something like Jordan. I wanted to be a generational brand, that Invest Brand could be passed down to generation, to the next generation, to the next generation of entrepreneurs, the next generation of people pursuing goals and what have you. I wanted to be something like, a brand where I can pass down to my kid, to my son, which my son can pass down to his kids if he chooses to have kids and what have you, right? So this was something that I was building special. That's why I say Invest Brand is more than a brand. It's an investment, and that's what it is. This is an investment of a long term, and investing in entrepreneurs and motivating them, right? So that's why it's so important when you starting a brand. You want to make sure your brand is something that's going to be for longevity. But I understand it's like to each his own. It's whatever you want, whatever you feel best and comfortable with, and what have you. If you want to build a brand that's trendy because you're looking for the short-term gains and what have you, so be it. You know what I'm saying? But understand, it's a price to pay in that. It's where you're going to continue to have to chase the next trend. You're going to have to come up with the next concept of your brand that's going to be trendy and what have you, rather than you building a brand that's for the long term, where all you have to do after so many years, innovate your business to keep up with new brands that come to fruition or what have you, or just to keep the people that you already have within your community. You want to make sure they stay locked in with your brand, right? You want to make sure the message stay clear. You're going to want to make sure as you grow your community, the people that's within your brand is growing right along with you. So you have to innovate your business in that way, rather than trying to come up with something new that's trendy to be part of the next trend or what have you, right? See, when you have something that's long term, it's never going to fall off. When you picking the right business model, putting together the best business plan, you have the right structure idea of a business, that's going to be something that people are going to need. Because like I said, Invest Brand, people need motivation. People are going to continue to be entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is not going to go anywhere, right? Motivation is something that people are going to look towards. Either it's in a book, or if it's in a video, or if it's in auto, and what have you. People want to search and find and look for motivation each and every day. It's not going to go nowhere, right? So that's why it's very important, because when you want to build a business model, make sure your business model is something that is bulletproof. Build something that no one that people going to want to duplicate and what have you. And when you see that, when you got something that's special like that, that people want to duplicate what you got, you have a special piece, right? You got something that's structured. You got something that's going to be for the longevity, that's going to be around, because people is looking towards your brand. People wanted to structure their brand around what you got and what have you. I'm not going to say copycat your brand, but they wanted to take the foundation of it and build something that's similar but different at the same time and what have you. So you got something special rather than the trend, because we see a lot of clothing lines and what have you, and brands fall off. They was here for a couple years, and now they not around no more, right? It was like a trendy thing. And I'm not going to say names and what have you, because that's not what I want to do. I don't want to put different clothing brand names out there, because you never know. You might do business with a person that used to be part of that brand or what have you in the future, what have you. So I want to be mindful of that. So I don't want to put anybody brand names out there and what have you. But we know what brands used to be around in the 90s that's not around no more, right? We know brands like me in my generation, right? We know where we grew up on, where we wore the brands that we wore at school. We know majority of them not around no more, because I don't believe that they structured their brand or clothing line, whatever you want to call it, for the longevity, for the long term, what have you. It was just like a piece of investment of that time. And as fashion, because you got to understand, fashion moves quick. Fashion doesn't stay still. Fashion moves quick. So that's why if you try to get in the game of building the trendy brand, you got to understand the movement of fashion. You got to understand that fashion move quick. So as you as your brand is in right now, because it's the trendy thing, if that's where you want to do, you got to stay 2 steps ahead. Then you got to be already building for the next trend. While your brand that's trending right now is the trendy thing, you got to make sure you building another something else that's going to be trendy for the next time, right? So you got to stay 2 steps ahead, and because you got to understand, fashion doesn't stay still; it moves. Just like when I talk to my wife, and she want different type of clothing or what have you, and I tell her like, look, you haven't really wore this, right? She'd be like, well, that's out of season. That's not in no more. You know, this is the color that's in for this year. That was last year's color, right? See, fashion, color, and all that other stuff moves quick within fashion. So that's why it's so important that you're building a brand that it doesn't matter how fast fashion moves, what color is in style. You're going to always be there. You're going to be always in the middle of the picture of the equation, right? You always going to be there because you got a brand that's sustainable. You got sustainable fashion. You got sustainable fashion. And that's what you want to look for, sustainability. You want to be able to stability. You want to be able to sustain, right? For the long term. You want to have fashion that it doesn't matter. Just like, let me go back to the example that I was using. Jordans. Going back to Jordans. Jordans really haven't changed their style. They really haven't really changed at all. It's basically the same shoe, or they might add a color to it, or they might take away a color and add something to it and what have you, or make a little minor change to it. But it's still the same shoe. It's still the same shoe, and it's still selling. It's still selling. Just like Apple, right? Apple built a brand where it's going to be around, right? Even though Steve Jobs built it, he was the first leg of it, but Tim Cook came and took it to the next level, where it doesn't matter what Apple sells and what have you, or people feel about Apple, it's going to always sell. It's going to always sell. It doesn't really matter. That's the type of brand you want. You want your brand. It don't matter what goes on around within the market that you in, the field of business that you in. It doesn't matter who's creating what new clothing line comes around, brand comes around, or what have you. You're going to always be in a mix because people are always going to lean towards you. And that's how I wanted to build Invest Brand once again, right? I wanted to be something whereas when people think about motivation, they automatically think about Invest Brand. Like, okay, I know where I can go get motivation at. Visual motivation, I need something that feels good, some motivational clothing. I want that visual as I'm out here pursuing my being within the field of entrepreneurship. I need that. I want that. I want people to understand, like, okay, I need some motivational gear. I need some motivational streetwear. I want people to automatically think about Invest Brand. That's how I want to build. See, when you're building your business, you want to be a competitive business, right? With the top people within your field and what have you. So within the market of fashion, branding, and what have you, I want to make sure I structure my brand to be able to be competitive and what have you. I want it to be for the longevity because now look at Nike. Nike been around since what, the 80s when Jordan got drafted, what, in 84, right? Jordan took that Nike to another level, right? That was a big hit for them. And that's why I say when it comes to like having the brand, I know with all of we got a lot of micro brands out here, a lot of micro brands that's out here right now, a lot of them, right? And I understand we don't have the luxury to get somebody like Michael Jordan to help our brand shoot up quicker than it usually would have if we didn't have that, right? So that's why I say you got to be able to want it for the long term. You got to be able to be in it for the long term because we're not fortunate to have somebody, a big star, a big celebrity, to endorse our brand, right? Or to wear whatever we got and what have you. Yes, of course, you got some people out here that you can send your clothing to, what have you, but it's not a guarantee that it's going to get you business or get you exposure within. I guess depending on who's wearing it too, right? But we're not fortunate to have a Michael Jordan to help our brand be sustainable for so many years. See, Nike, they was able to build a powerhouse starting with Jordan, and then they was able to get other superstars in, right? As they can continue to grow, right? So that's what you got to do, man. When it comes to your brand, you got to be able to make sure you're building something that's structured for the long term. So it's not going to be something that it's going to be in one day and it's going to be out next day, and now you're searching for the next thing that you can do to be able to have something that's out there and what have you. That's why it's so important. Me, like I said, my choice would be longevity over trend. Like I said, you have people out there that may prefer just having something that's trendy than something that's long term, right? Some people is not in it for the long term. I am. That's why I created Invest Brand. That's what Invest Brand stands for. That's what Invest Brand is, right? So that's what it is, man. So you want your brand to be for longevity, or you want your brand to be a trendy brand, and you're going to be searching for the next trend, chasing the next trend after the next trend after the next. That's the show for today, man. Thank y'all for tuning in to the Invest Brand Podshow. It's officially Ep.6. So if you are out there, my entrepreneurs out there, y'all thinking about starting a brand, make sure you start something that's going to be structured in a way that you're going to be able to invest and benefit off of for the long term, what have you. So make sure if you listen to it on Spotify, this show, hit the follow button. You're watching it on YouTube, hit the subscribe and notification bell. And also go to Invest Brand Podshow, become part of the journey because the journey is created for you. And I'll see y'all when I see y'all next week. Yup.